Hey everyone, 90s kid Ozzie Madison here. Well, it is April, and no fooling, I'm going to be doing something a little different this month, because April is Autism Acceptance Month, at least according to the people who are autistic or actually care about the autistic community. To Autism Speaks and their supporters, it's Autism Awareness Month. Well, screw them! People are already aware of us. Now they need to learn who we really are and accept us for who we are. For those of you who still don't know a lot about autism and the people on the spectrum, here is a quick rundown. Autism is a developmental disability. It exists on a spectrum. The spectrum is not a straight line, but more like a circle. Labels like high functioning or low functioning are considered inaccurate and offensive, so don't use them. We are not all poor nonverbal children who had their personalities stolen away from us by the evil autism. There is nothing wrong with being nonverbal. We also do not all grow up to be either antisocial losers or super geniuses. We're people. We're all different. There is no such thing as looking autistic. We have special interests, our term, not yours, that we focus on for days, weeks, months, even years at a time. And that's awesome. The good majority of us do not wish to be cured, for we have learned to love ourselves despite all the ableism heaped upon us in our lives. And no, it is not caused by vaccines. In recent years, many celebrities have publicly revealed being autistic, such as Dan Aykroyd, Roseanne Barr, yeah I know, Daryl Hannah, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Jim Jeffries, Billy West, Dan Harmon, Susan Boyle, David Byrne, Courtney Love, Gary Newman, Adam Young aka Owl City, Tay Zonday, and Greta Thunberg. Meanwhile, many deceased great scientific and creative minds have been speculated to be on the spectrum, such as Sir Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, Michael Jackson, Andy Kaufman, Peter Sellers, Syd Barrett, and yes, Robin Williams. It's very tempting to want to have these amazing people as part of our tribe, as it were, but we must remember this is all just conjecture. We will never really know the truth. But I suppose the best way to talk about autism is to talk about my experience as an autistic person. When I was 11 years old, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. That was the accepted medical term at the time. I had previously been misdiagnosed with ADD and prescribed Ritalin, which just made me worse. But getting a proper diagnosis was no time to celebrate, because it just gave the kids and the staff of my middle school an excuse to pick on me even more. Oh yeah, did I mention I spent my middle school years in a bungalow full of junior psychopaths because the school district labeled me as disturbed? Let's back up a bit. Before my diagnosis, I was assumed to be just another rebellious 90s kid. A little eccentric and sensitive, but otherwise well-adjusted. Then around the last few years of elementary school, I got precocious. See, one of the effects of being autistic for me was having no filter. And no filter, plus early puberty, plus an over-sexualized culture, equals getting into big trouble. So, the school board thought I belonged with the kids who would draw swastikas on my desk. Even after my diagnosis, they kept me there. High school was thankfully a small step up, but I'm not going to tell the tale of all my school days. Basically, for most of my life after that, I had severe internalized ableism. Taking a cue from a certain Chris Rock routine, I decided that there were autistic people like me, and then there were retards. I used this made-up dichotomy in my edgelord teenage years to justify joining the rest of the internet on picking on autistic people who were making absolute fools of themselves. I realize now this is what is called respectability politics. The idea that a marginalized group has to act a certain way just to get fair treatment in society. Now, some of these people were doing genuinely awful things, but it's clear to me now that that's not what they were being singled out for. And I just joined in to protect my own ass. See, now that's what I call cringy. Not autistic people expressing themselves, but autistic people hating themselves, like I did. I have now learned to accept myself for who I am, and not to judge my fellow autistics unless they actually do bad things. In the last few years, there have been many new autistic characters in children's productions. I'm sure by now we all know Carl from Arthur and Julia from Sesame Street. I'll be talking about them later this month. But now there's AJ Gadgets from Hero Elementary, the titular Pablo from an Irish cartoon, and Entrapta from She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. While researching this episode, I found some more obscure ones. First, Sophie from the book Caillou Meets Sophie. Yes, everyone's favorite bald brat met an autistic kid. But, reading the summary on the Caillou wiki, it actually doesn't sound so bad. And it's approved by Autism Canada, which as far as I know has no connection to Autism Speaks. So that's good, otherwise I'd have to say, Caillou, how dare you work with Autism Speaks? You are grounded for 1 billion years. Go to your room. Second of all is Scarlet, a new Archie Comics character who has unfortunately only appeared in special issues only available from the creator. Hopefully she will someday be integrated into the main series, and maybe even Riverdale. Hey, then maybe I'd actually watch it. Unfortunately, not all has been well when it comes to autistic representation in the media. I'm sure you've all heard by now of Sia's film, Music, which has been discussed so much by other autistic YouTubers in much more detail, but in summary, the main problems are casting a neurotypical actress to play the title character, the offensive use of derp faces to represent autism, and use of prone restraint, a practice that has killed many autistic people, and Sia lashing out like a spoiled teenager when called out for all this. I just feel really bad for any autistic person who had Sia and her music as a special interest, or even just own a copy of the My Little Pony movie which she was in. I never listened to her music, so I don't know how they're coping. If you are autistic and in that position, let me know in the comments how you're dealing with it. I'll talk more about people associated with special interests doing horrible things in a later video. The good news is, at least the media listened to us and reported on it, and even though it was nominated for 2 Golden Globes, it did not win. But meanwhile, ableism still runs rampant on the internet. Autistic is still used as an insult. Autistic screeching is still a meme that I've seen even some self-proclaimed liberals use. This is not okay. I don't know how long it'll take before we get to where people of color and LGBT people are, and the fight's still not over for them. All I know is that in the 24 years I've been on the internet, I've seen gay people go from a punchline even in liberal spaces, to being fetishized, to finally being seen as full-fledged people. Let's hope it doesn't take as long for us. There is so much more to be done. I have never seen an autistic person like me on TV. I just want to see a verbal autistic woman sitting on the couch, drinking beer, and eating edibles, just trying to have a good time. I want to see an autistic person whose knowledge of pop culture is appreciated. I want to see autistic people played by autistic people. I want an autistic Doctor Who companion. I want us to have our own Pride Parade after this pandemic is over. I want an autistic president! So, for the rest of the month, I'm going to be presenting to you One Autistic's Opinion. It's basically what the title says, my opinions on various autism-related things. But as they say, if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. We're all different, so the opinions will be mine and mine alone. Hope to see you there!